But they've done a really good job of tuning this to make it comfortable. Full throttle. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over the all-new 2022 GMC Sierra AT4X. First and foremost though, as always, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get right into it. Under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 6.2 liter V8 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. It is good for 420 horsepower and then 460 pound-feet of torque, with fuel economy being 14 around town and then 18 on the highway. The axle ratio is 3.23 for this truck. Now let's go over the front end of the AT4X, and I love this particular color on the AT4X. I've also seen one in bright blue, and man, does this truck look cool with bright colors. I'm sure sadly most people will order this with like white or black, but still, you can pull off bright colors with this truck. Anyways, notice here with GMC's signature hood, how you kind of have the raised portion on either side, and it's just like flat there in the center. And I love the coloration here at the top of the grille. You've got a giant GMC logo here with a camera there below the logo, and then you guys can see the coloration throughout the rest of the grille. I think it looks really good. Notice how nicely integrated the new headlights are with the front end. They definitely look like they're a part of everything. And then you can see with the blacked out accent piece parking sensors here on the front end. And then notice here with our fog light down below, we do have red toe hooks just like other AT4 models. We do have skid plate protection underneath. We've got about 11 inches of ground clearance with this package, and there's the front end. Now coming around the side here, we've got 32.5-inch tall tires wrapped around 18-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And notice how the wheel itself has been all blacked out, which I think looks really cool, kind of goes with the sporty theme. And I can tell you guys right now, I absolutely love these tires from a wear perspective. I have the garage open so you guys can see my TRX, because I've got the same tires on my TRX in the form of 35s instead of 32.5 like what this truck has. But yeah, just these tires are fantastic off-road, and then also they have a really long lifespan, even if you romp on them quite a bit. Now we do have a 2-inch suspension lift just like the regular AT4 here. And then notice here with the fender flare, we have our 6.2L V8 badge. We have our AT4X logo here, and then this one actually has the rock rails on the side for protection. Notice the mirror's been blacked out, also the trimmer on the windows. And then if we take a few steps back, you guys can see the full side profile of the truck, which I think looks really good actually. And then popping here to the rear, you can see we've got the DSSV shocks from Multimatic. It's a 3-chamber system, really advanced stuff actually. Still have regular leaf springs here in the rear as well. And then last but not least, we do have the high ground clearance exhaust tips right there so they don't pop all the way out the back. So here's our key fob. We have our unlock function or lock function remote, starting on the drop down for the tailgate, and then the GMC logo as well. That was very fast. We have a payload capacity of 1,322 pounds and then towing capacity of 9,000 pounds with a conventional trailer, so out the receiver hitch, right? Notice we've got this little grab handle here to help accessing the rear, and then we do have LED lights here on the bed, and then we have a full power outlet. And then notice here we've got spray and liner from the factory. Notice this says AT4X there at the top, and then you got the cargo light and camera. Now this does have the multi-pro system, so there's a button right here that you press, and notice this also has the kicker sound system built in. So it takes tailgating to a whole new level. Obviously this doubles as a step 375-pound weight limit, which is pretty typical for a whole like bed step system, if you guys are wondering. Definitely got some heft to lift that up, especially when you're on an incline. But let's go over things with the rear. So we've got the GMC logo, Sierra, and then another AT4X badge. Look at these tail lights. Definitely like the look of that. Bumper steps, parking sensors here with the receiver hitch. And, you know, pretty much looks like every other Sierra from a rear end perspective, but I don't think that's a bad thing because it looks good. Now, taking a look at the door panel here in the rear, they've definitely taken things up to a whole new level. Look at the leather trim here at the top and the wood trim. Speakers for the Bose sound system, which actually is phenomenal, by the way, this new sound system. And then notice the cross stitching here, and then you can see there with the stitching all across and like the kind of like accent pieces. And then here are the seats, and that white just absolutely pops. As you can see, notice we have behind the seat storage, and then again, I love the coloration on this under seat storage as well. And then we have the rubber floor mats, which You got the cloth ones, but you can disconnect it so it's all rubber if you want, which I think is pretty cool. Is that not in place? Oh, it is in place. Anyways, got a couple cup holders there, heated seat controls. Now we don't have side steps, but we do have a grab handle that, notice it has leather and stitching on it. And yes, I'm wearing sandals today. Room is just crazy in the back here. And then you guys can see the storage pocket. And then we have our cup holder armrest situation. Let's head to the front. Now here is the front door panel, you guys can see again with all of the leather trim and then the wood trim down below. And then I just love the design of everything. Notice again the cross stitching, and then you can see there with more stitching. AT4X, we do have memory seats, blind spot monitoring for the mirrors, and again another speaker for the upgraded Bose sound system. And then here are the front seats. Notice it says AT4X, then perforated all down the center, and I love the design details here on these sides. They look fantastic. And now notice we've got all of our seat adjustments right here for like the lumbar. Now this little button right here, that is for the massage seat function. So you press that to activate the massaging function. AT4X again, and then we have the same thing with the floor mats. They didn't do anything crazy with the pedals though, just left them pretty normal. Notice we got our parking brake here, and then we have our drive mode select with the light controls there on the other side. And then notice with the drive line select, we have our auto, 4-wheel high, 2-wheel high, and then we have 4-wheel low as well. And then that's your trailer tow mode. Got controls for the heads-up display to adjust that. Steering wheel's power adjustable. Let's pop in. So here is the steering wheel for the AT4X. You guys can see here with the leather trim all around, and then notice here with the contrasted stitching again. Controls for the center stack, voice command, phone controls, paddle shifters here on the back with radio controls. We have our heated steering wheel button right here, and then our cruise controls does have adaptive cruise control. Turn signal, windshield wiper, stock, you know, all the normal works. Now here's the center gauge cluster. First off, we do have some different modes. So notice we got our tow haul mode we can go into. And then we have our off-road mode, which is for high-speed off-roading, terrain, which is for crawling. This does have one pedal drive, if you guys are wondering. And yeah, with the digital gauge cluster, I think it looks fantastic. And notice how you can scroll through different menus, see different bits of info. Let's actually see what this truck has been averaging from a fuel economy perspective. 17.3 miles per gallon, 17.7. That is not too shabby. Now here is the center infotainment screen. First off, we're gonna pop it into reverse. So we have an amazing camera system. So notice we got the bird's eye view, and then we've got the backup camera with trajectory lines. Then you guys saw us turn the steering wheel with those. But notice we got the front view right there, and you guys can see all the different viewpoints. Definitely the best camera system in the truck industry right now, just because of all the different viewpoints on it, and resolution is also fantastic. Now as for the infotainment screen, it's pretty cool. So you've got the shortcut bar here on the side. We have the main screen here, which you can see response time's fantastic, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and we have the auxiliary screen here off to the side, which lets you see a couple different menus, or you can just make it be a clock so that's all clean. And yeah, overall, pretty nice. Now I've got a bunch of controls here in this section. We got the engine stop start, as you can see, climate controls, dual zone climate with heated and cooled seats. And then notice we got our lane departure, parking sensors, auto stop start. That's for the tailgate drop down, hazard lights, stability control, hill descent control, and then this does have a rear locker as well as a front locker. So you can lock the rear independently, but if you want to lock the front, you have to have both of them locked at the same time. And then you guys can see here, look at that leather trim here on the side, and then there's a little bit of storage space right there. Got the new shifter here in the center portion, trailer brake controls, a couple of cup holders, and then notice with the center console, got like the phone holder there at the top. Got wireless phone charging, pretty nice with the storage space. And then look at the dash from a material standpoint. You can see with the wood trim. Now I've noticed that this button gets kind of sticky with the top portion, opening the glove box. Yeah, you can see it got stuck in there. Got the bottom, so like the way I have to jostle with this for a minute to get that, but that's definitely something that I've noticed is the sticky button right there. Anyways, popping up top here, you guys can see with the camera mirror system, and then we've got the sunroof here at the top, controls for the sunroof, and then look at the headliner, very premium in terms of the look, and then we have leather on the grab handles even. That is hilarious. So here's our window sticker. I love how it's like slightly cut off there at the top. But anyways, you guys can see here with the warranty information, 3-year 36,000 mile bumper to bumper, 5-year 60,000 mile on the powertrain, and all of the equipment that comes with this is standard, which pretty much everything's standard. Base price $73,300 on this one. I think this was before the price increase, because I think now the base price is like $75,000. But you guys can see this has like the rocker protection, for example, and then the cayenne red tint coat, which I think looks so cool. But anyways, total MSRP on this $76,790, which again, with the base price now being 75-ish, I think. So this is, in today's market, probably like a $78,000 truck. Maybe I'm off by a little bit. But anyways, let's drive it. Let's go over visibility before we set off. You guys can see here with the visibility over the hood. Hopefully you can see the heads-up display now. Both the mirrors. And throughout the rest of the rear. And let's set off. The AT4X. And let me tell you, it's nice getting a massage driving around a pickup truck, because you got that cool king of the road feel, and you can do it while you are comfortable, which is definitely a fun experience. But driving around the AT4X, how does this drive, especially compared to the regular AT4? So first off, ride quality is actually really good with this truck. Now, it still utilizes leaf spring technology, as you guys saw in the rear, which you guys know I'm personally not a huge fan of from a ride quality perspective. There are some benefits to leaf spring, you know, like long-term reliability and, you know, improved payload. But that being said, again, the slight downside of, you know, having slightly more of a jumpy back end, I guess is the best way to put it. But they've done a really good job of tuning this to make it comfortable. Full throttle. Now, this is naturally aspirated, and we're at pretty high elevation. We're at 4,500 feet here. So we do have a little bit of power loss with this engine, and we have a 3.23 axle ratio, which also doesn't exactly make it the punchiest off the line. But it still feels pretty good and sounds good too. Now, yeah, just cruising, it's so comfortable on road. They did a really good job with the on-road tuning with this truck. That being said, though, this doesn't drive any differently compared to an AT4 from what I can feel. It does have, you know, bigger tires compared to an AT4, but it frankly feels the same. Now, the other thing that I thought was interesting is this has the manual mode, which isn't horrible. But like, you press the paddle and it takes a second for something to happen. So yeah, it has paddles, which is cool. I just don't know if I would ever use them other than in very few like off-road situations, basically, which this is an off-road truck, and I will be taking this off-road, by the way, guys. I will be taking this off-road. But yeah, they're not like paddles in the sense of you're gonna be doing sporty driving with them. I feel like this review is just me flooring it. Funny enough. But yeah, these multi-mag shocks, like I said, they do a great job, and we'll be hopping over some train tracks here in a second. It's just, it doesn't feel that much different than the regular AT4. So I'm kind of struggling to find a reason to buy this over an AT4 if you're just gonna mall crawl with it, because the AT4 looks just as cool, and the interior on the new AT4 is just, I mean, this looks a little bit more special, that's for sure, but the AT4 is pretty much just as nice. And so, like, the benefits with this, you guys see going over the train tracks is perfect. The benefits with this is like the front and rear lockers and the shocks, but you only get a benefit out of those if you take this off-road, which, who's gonna take this off-road, right? Other than me this weekend with this press car. So let's sum things up with the AT4X. I think it looks great. I think the concept is amazing. That being said, though, I think there's a few things that GM should have done with this. First off, this doesn't have the same front bumper as the Silverado ZR2, which the Silverado ZR2 optimizes for approach angle, and it looks aggressive and cool. I think they should have done something like that on the AT4X. That's the first thing. Second thing, I think that they should have done something to differentiate this more from the regular AT4. This is basically, like, from an on-road perspective, like, different axle ratio so that this felt faster, because I feel like if someone's gonna be buying this off-road package, they'd be okay with getting slightly worse fuel economy. Like, if this had a 410 axle ratio, good gravy, it would feel obscene from an acceleration perspective, but it doesn't. So overall, I really like this truck. I really do. I think, again, the concept is awesome, and I'm sure that I'm going to fall in love with this after I take it off-road, because it's going to be amazingly capable with the front and rear lockers and with the tires it has and everything. But that being said, I feel like this was a slight missed opportunity. I feel like GM didn't have to put a supercharged V8 under the hood of this. They didn't have to go the TRX route, right? I know that I'm in the minority by saying that, because I know everyone's like, it should have been a TRX. I feel like, again, like I said, just a more aggressive axle ratio. That's it. That's all I'm asking for. 410 rear end, yes, the fuel economy would be abysmal, but it would at least make this truck feel just a little bit better. That's going to sum things up for a video on this GMC Sierra AT4X. I will see all of you in that next video.